My name is Naomi and I work as a holistic love and intimacy coach specialized in dating and sexuality for women and soon couples as well. And who are you, Anja? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Naomi. My name is Anja, and I work as a holistic life coach for feminine leadership and for conscious leadership. So, my expertise is to bridge from the spiritual, tantric, embodiment, somatic, trauma healing world into leadership. So, how especially can we as women come more into our bodies, connect stronger with ourselves, our essence, our self-confidence and our radiance, and bring this into our all-day life, into all of our relationships, and into our leadership and our businesses.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how did you find to be the bridge between one and the other? What did it mean to you in this journey? How does it help you?
Yeah, for me, I'm an entrepreneur most of my life. I have worked as a journalist, and I have founded a lifestyle e-bike company in 2009, 2010, which is successful in Germany and the German-speaking area. Then I founded a CBD oil company in Thailand the past years, and as well like my own coaching business. So over the past 5 to 7 years, I regularly already hosted fempreneurs masterminds, masterminds for women, supporting women in business and leadership. And through my own healing journey, so I had a very severe burnout with depression, and since 20 years I'm suffering from IBS. It's irritable bowel syndrome. So regularly I have these waves of tremendous pain, which completely kicks me out of life, and I can't work. And this is emotionally related usually. To small things sometimes even. So yeah, this brought me many years ago on my own healing journey. And I think I started with personal growth 15 years ago, and then I went to Bali on my first spiritual and healing journey. It was in 2015, and spent there a few months, traveled through Asia, and this is when everything began. And in 2018 I accidentally came to the Tantra Festival on Hawaii. And that was like such an impressive experience, but so much out of my comfort zone, so far away from everything I had known until that point in my life about relating, being intimate with people I don't know, eye gazing, touching, even watching sexuality there. Like it was, for me, it was more like a watcher, more a witness than engaging in so many things. But it left an imprint in me. Then I started to do some Tantra workshops in Zurich, where I lived at that time. And I'm a yoga practitioner and a Qigong practitioner since 2008. So all these things slowly came together, and then I did my Tantra teacher training in Thailand in 2019. And started teaching Tantra and in combination with Qigong for about, since 2020. First on Koh Phangan, then since more than 1 year in Ibiza, and as well I'm giving weekly workshops at Six Senses Ibiza. I'm a therapist there to really bridge that world, to bring that inner healing, trauma healing, hypnosis in the childhood, family constellations, Tantra, into the healing space. And from that, then we move into leadership to see, okay, for example, if I would work with you, where are your struggles right now in your leadership and in your private life? And then we have a look and work on things like we did together in a family constellation. And this has a huge impact then on your own inner leadership. So on your own inner connection with yourself, your body, your sexuality, your pleasure. And this gives you different power in yourself and a stronger resilience and connectedness with your own body. And out of this, you can be a different leader who really has the confidence to step out in the world, to speak out in the world, and to create, to give birth to companies, to projects, to books, to art, whatever you want to create. Yeah,
So interesting. Yeah, really interesting. And do you see an overlap then between the relationship, like in your private life, and the leadership? Right? Yeah.
yes, for sure. So for me and for everyone I know, the journey begins always first and foremost with the relationship to yourself. Like to explore this relationship. How do I work? How do I function? And many people say, oh, like she has lost herself, she's looking for herself. And I think it's not true. We're not losing ourselves. It's more like often due to crisis, we start to question things. We start to question our behaviors, our reactions, and start to learn, why do we react that way? How have we been raised? Which attachment styles have we been experiences in our childhoods? And why are we relating in specific ways to specific men? Why are we dating unavailable men? Like, what is this for a mirror? Where are the unavailable parts in me? Or where have they been, for example, in the relationship with my father? So it's always, for me, I'm really good looking at the big picture systemically from my systemic coaching education to help people to get very fast results.
Yeah.
And regarding your question, so yeah, starting with the relationship to yourself and to your own body, your sexuality, your pleasure, and then moving in relation to a second person is already like a huge thing. And to see, okay, always when we go into intimate relationships, it's a mirror, right? We get mirrored in our behaviors, in our pains, they get triggered in our wounds, which haven't been healed yet. And it's a big gift, but it's a lot of work. And it's a lot of commitment too. And I feel that is the same when you want to build up a business. So you really have to commit to yourself, to your business, to your goal, and then follow through.
Yeah.
And it's the same in relationship. When you stop doing the work and stop relating, for example, anxious avoidant attachment, and then always going out of relation when it's getting difficult, you will never succeed in your business either. So here, this is the bridge. So you need to heal all the relationships inside of you first to be like a really conscious and successful leader out there.
Wow.
And not leading from your ego and your narcissistic parts, which just want to control people, which just want to have power or just want to make money. No, I really talk about a connected, embodied, and conscious leadership, and this is a very different, much more sustainable kind of leadership.
Yeah, more from the heart, I feel. And it is interesting how these dynamics work, because I found out yesterday that like the codependency in leadership is there as well. So you can be like, you're building a business and you become codependent on your clients, for instance. And you, like, as a beginning entrepreneur, I found out like all these layers of neediness, which I had in the past with men as well, like them providing me the safety that I actually had to build inside of myself first. And it was interesting because I moved out of that with partners, and then I repeated the same pattern in my business. And I feel because your business it's so personal that it gives you the biggest mirrors.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, I think it's really beautiful, the combination. And I almost feel it's almost like a ripple effect, that if you heal one part, you get more insight in the other parts as well. And it's just like this weaving effect, which is Tantra also all about, of course, like the weaving effect of relationship of the self, relationship to others, and then in business. And yeah, beautiful. And we had some really nice conversations, especially for me, because I have been new again in the dating, exploring, and I've been on this journey the past 2 months, and especially the last 3-4 weeks ever since I came here. Like, okay, what do I want to be known of? Like, what is my gift to this world? What is my vision? What is the wisdom that I want to guide women into? What was my own journey, and how did it help me? And for me, like the slowing down in sex with yourself, but also with a partner and definitely in dating. That was a very interesting journey for me with my past relationship and now in dating as well. And it brought me so much to see that there's so more in sex than just the typical classic penetration variant that we all kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
label as sex. But once you figure out that there's so much more to discover, so much more to do with clear boundaries and clear constructions, it's like, wow, I've enjoyed the past week so much with myself with exploring this. While before I was judging myself like, oh, I'm conscious now, so I cannot have casual sex anymore, or casual kissing anymore. No, I'm a conscious woman right now. And then you told me like, hey, but you can have fun with like clear boundaries and all of that. And you gave
In a
me
conscious way,
in
like
a
in a
conscious
mindful
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mindful way. And then you shared with me the like the only the just the kissing date.
Yes.
Oh, and I loved that so much. And that was for me like, okay, this woman, I really want to talk to you about this in the podcast to inspire the listeners. Like, okay, how can we inspire them to make the dating, the relating, and everything more fun with slowing down? Like, what else is there than just the classical penetration sex? What else is there to explore, and how can we stop judging ourselves if we want to enter our sacred slut era, which is also super empowering because you're discovering your own sexuality. Oh, I have like chills all over my body. Discovering your own sexuality
and your own way of seduction, right? Because most people use seduction and manipulation in their private lives, in their businesses, unconsciously. And this can not, like, sometimes it's not healthy, and sometimes it can lead to misunderstanding or even to passive aggressive responses. So it's really important to get more conscious about how do I use this, like to be aware of, okay, I'm now seducing someone and I want to seduce it. And you can use it in dating, of course, and in romantic relationships, but as well in business. I see so many women using this tool of seduction to get what they want. And there are even, I don't know if you knew, but all countries in the world have spies, right? They spy out informations for the country. And all of them do have sex spies. Why? Because they are trained very specifically in the art of seduction to get the information they want very fast. So I feel it's a good thing to know what manipulation does to you and how you can use it in a conscious and in a positive way.
So how can you notice then that you are manipulating? Because for me in my journey, my sexual trauma is that I have misused my sexuality to receive love or attention from men. Before I came into this conscious part of sexuality and relating, and I found out like, oh, like I was so used to use my sexuality and the seductress as getting something in return from the man, whether it was attention or love or even a relationship.
So it was a trading.
It was a trading, yeah, but I wasn't aware of it. So how can women that listen to this episode right now be more aware of that they are doing that?
So every time you use your beauty, your sexuality, your sexual energy, and your pleasing little girl to get something, you manipulate. Like always when you want something from the man in return, this is already a trading or a manipulation.
Yeah.
And we are kind of used to do it all the time, and it's important to get more aware of what are you doing there, why are you doing this, for what. Yeah, and often it's about our inner self-worthiness, our inner child parts which didn't get enough love, and this is what we want from the man then, right? We want appreciation, attention, love, financial safety, all this kind of stuff. And there's a different way. We can as well talk more openly about it, about our needs and desires from a man or in our lives or in our sexuality, and voice it and bring it to the table. So then it's not in a shadow and a manipulation thing. Then it's an open form of communication and relating. And this can create more vulnerability, more trust, and more intimacy with the man, and a deeper bonding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I really like that. Yeah. Yeah, and I could see how it has been changing for me as well. That I went from noticing that pattern, breaking that pattern, and then moving into shaming myself again. Because I felt like, oh, I'm not ready to have a relationship again, but I do feel ready to have fun. But then rejecting that part inside of me because I was rejecting the pattern that I had.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of right now, I'm like, oh no, the pattern is a part of me. It was very long my strategy, but right now I can choose different with different kinds of tools.
Yeah, exactly. And this plays in what you said before, what I was recommending you to not only practice slow sex, but practice slow dating.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, this is the key, that we come back to slow dating. What does slow dating mean? So you take much more time to get to know the other person, and you said you create very clear and safe containers for yourself as a woman, but as well for both of you, the man and the woman, or the woman, or however, how many people you're dating. And you say, okay, so I would love to have just a kissing date, or I would love to just have dinner and to have deep talks, or I would love to have a cuddle date but no sexuality. And that makes you feeling more safe, because before you date and meet someone and go for dinner with someone, you set a very clear container and say, okay, I'm really interested in you, I would love to get to know you, but here's my boundary. I would love to kiss you and I would love to be sensual with you, but for tonight, no touch. Just kissing.
Yeah.
Or just, oh, I would love you to touch my hand, and let's explore the hands. It can be fucking magical, intimate experience.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, so this is, I can really recommend this. It will give you new forms of experiences in sensuality. It's much more tantric because you're going slower with more consciousness and more presence into it. And it can give you so much fun and pleasure.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, oh, bring your teenager a little bit more out, go and play, but set clear containers so that you're not contracting during it, or have the feeling, oh my god, I have to have sex with him because he paid my food.
Yeah, that's obviously a really big shadow that I had in the past as well. What I just told you before, like 3 years ago, I was dating with a man, and I was not in this conscious journey yet. It was like right before. He was my last like trigger that I was like, okay, I'm done with this, not anymore. It was the first time that I stated for myself the boundary, like I don't want to have sex anymore on the first date. And then I had been in contact with him for 3 months, and I saw him for the first time in Mallorca, and then he really wanted to be inside of me, and I said no, and then he said, oh, but I've been waiting for so long, and blah blah blah, and that triggered something inside of me. It triggered my pleasing, like, oh, if I don't please a man, if I don't say yes right now, then he will leave, or he will reject me, or whatever. So I said yes. I didn't stay to my own boundaries, and that was very interesting to see. And I can imagine that there's more women that want to be more aware of their boundaries, stating their boundary, and then, yeah, how can we stick to it? How can we create more awareness towards the man as well, what it is for us if they penetrate us too soon or don't.
Yeah. So for me, what I teach and share with all my clients, I'm working with women since almost 10 years now, and the most important thing is an open communication, to really share your vulnerability and share with him what does it do to you when he does this, because most of us, neither men nor women, have any kind of education in this, neither in dating nor in sexuality. So, and this is why for me Tantra was life-changing, and I love to teach that and bring that more into the world. Yeah, to encourage people to do everything slower and more conscious, and to go into open conversation about things, which, as we said before, starts with creating a safe container. Like, this is my desire, this is my boundary. For today, maybe for a month, maybe for 3 months. Is that okay for you or not? What are your boundaries? And then you can negotiate, right? Or not, or you say, no, it's my boundary, I'm not doing it, and if that's not okay for you, I'm not going to be intimate with you in any way. And the first really important step is to, especially as women, we're often raised to please other people, to please especially men, and we weren't allowed to reject men. So, and this is a huge collective trauma. So I studied the past 10 years collective trauma with Thomas Hübel and other amazing teachers, and most people have no idea how much trauma is stored in our physical and energetical bodies. And this trauma plays out in these kind of situations. So I help people to understand what is collective or ancestor trauma. Why am I behaving like this? Why, in your situation, why am I pleasing that man? Where does it come from, and how can I change it? Because that didn't feel good to me, and I didn't protect myself. I didn't stay to my own truth.
No.
Right? And this can re-traumatize your whole body system. And so the first step is to become more aware of this. Okay, there is trauma. All of us have it. How does it play out? How do I feel it? How do I figure out what are my boundaries? Like, how close can I let someone come? Like, even energetically, physically, like, where is my energy, my safe energy space around my body? Like, to figure out that first. And then they say, stop, no, so you're close enough. Like, maybe it's 2 meters. Yeah, and this is your safe space. It's super important to practice this.
Yeah.
Or when a man just puts his hand on your lap, on your butt, wherever, and then most of the women freeze. They're not able to say something. And I was one of these women. And I had a lot of this kind of abuse in my professional life. There were so many men who were my bosses or had higher positions or investors who were overstepping my boundaries, touching me, wanting sex from me, all this kind of stuff. And I had no idea how to approach this, what to say, what to do. I was freezing. I was afraid to lose my job if I say something.
Or like making very sexual jokes, and then everybody starts laughing, and then you feel like, oh, now I can definitely not say no.
Especially when we work in very male-dominated fields. So, for example, I worked in the bicycle industry for almost 10 years, and there weren't many women.
No. Yeah.
And it can be even worse from the kind of people who you work with, and then they make these jokes, and it's not comfortable for women.
No.
I'm not making jokes about their dicks.
Yeah.
I'm not making jokes about their appearance, how they look, what they wear, their muscles, whatever.
Yeah.
I would never do that.
No, it's so interesting, and this is really, I feel that this is such a big collective trauma, and that you can see already that this plays out for so many women, and then we take these patterns into dating and relating, because this is what we are used to feeling, this is what we are used to see. We see it even in Disney movies,
In all the Hollywood movies, women get, like, they are used in most of this. You don't see honoring yet. Like coming from Tantra, it was so mind-blowing and so touching for me to experience that men honor me from the deepest place of their heart and appreciation.
Yeah.
And they bow for my body, they bow for my yoni.
Yeah.
And this
the appreciation
does something to every female body. And this is a big healing.
Yeah.
And this is so important to educate more around these kind of topics, so that everyone can have different experiences around intimacy, dating, and sexuality.
Yeah, and this is why I feel such a strong pull towards creating more like mini courses around conscious dating and sexuality, slow sex, slow dating, all of that, because there's so much more that we can share in this world with awareness, with knowledge. And I'm very curious to know, so when would you have this conversation? For instance, I'm on a dating app, and this man shows interest in me and he wants to take me out for a sunset. Would you say it already then, up front?
I would.
Yeah.
Yes, I would. I would, from the first moment, create a safe space for myself.
Yeah.
Set very clear, this is my desire.
Yeah.
This is my boundary for tonight. I would love to meet you. How do you feel about it?
Yeah.
And include him. Ask question. How do you feel? What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And also, that's why I always say it's so important to have your own intention first. And I guide women through that as well, because it's so new for them that they try to think it from the mind and blah, blah, blah. And I bring them into the heart and into the womb and into the body, like after all the clearing of the trauma, to see like, okay, what is it that you want? What is it that you feel? What is your intention? Like for me right now, my intention is to have fun, but with very clear boundaries, which is very different if you are really looking for a relationship. You might have different desires, right? And how can you speak your intentions and your desires if you're not aware of them? So this is already a beautiful journey to guide women through. And what I found myself was very interesting is that 2 weeks ago when I met this guy on the beach, and immediately it set off a tone between him and I, because I was the one approaching him for his phone number. And in Ibiza it's very common to tan without a bikini. And so it was a very interesting way of meeting this man, and I think that he had very wrong impressions, or not the good impressions, because I was not wearing a bikini. I asked him for his number with his friend, and he texted me and he said like, oh yeah, this and that happened, but I'm going back to Barcelona, but we can have some digital fun. And immediately I felt like I have to set a very clear boundary now with him, because probably I put out the wrong impressions with my appearance.
Of course.
So I stated this very clear boundary, and his reaction was so sweet. It was so sweet. He said, oh, I'm so sorry. Oops, I really misunderstood your intentions. I'm more an in-person, I like to meet new people, but more in person. So let's keep in touch when I'm back in Ibiza or when you're here in Barcelona. And I was like, wow, fun. I mean, so clear. We both have clarity right now.
Yeah, and you created a safe container for both of you. And this is my experience too in dating or in my current relationship. So as soon as I create safe containers in my relationships, in my dating or romantic relationships, as well as in my business relationships, everyone feels safe. And my actual partner was so grateful for me being clear about my container, about my desires and boundaries. And he felt so safe in that. And like when I voiced this, like, this is my container, I invite you in, but I'm like, for me, it's I'm happy if you come, I'm happy if you don't come, right?
Yeah.
And this for him was so strong, and he never has experienced that ever before. So he cleared all relationships with all whatever he had going on before when he was single, and then really committed to me and this. So that was very, very powerful.
Yeah. Would you like to share your the container that you set with him?
Yeah, so for me, it was like, since I went through all this dating stuff for many, many years as well, and experienced a lot of different things and a lot of very, very painful heartbreaks with men, like, promising whatever and love bombing and all that stuff. So I really didn't want that again. And as well, like when you look at science, as soon as you as a woman let a man enter your sacred body, it does something to you, to your body and energetically, and as well to your hormones. So it sets hormones free, which puts on you this red-pink glasses, and then you cannot see clearly anymore. So you're projecting something on that man, what he is not. And this is really dangerous because this leads to lots of disillusion and to pain, because you fantasize, you romanticize, and it's not the truth. You don't see the red flags anymore, the warning signs, you know. And
because of the attachment and
yes.
chemistry,
and this chemistry and attachment gets created through penetration. So when you keep that out in the beginning of your dating, for the first month, for the first 3 months, we would even recommend a therapist, then you really get to know this person first, without the pink glasses. And you really know, who am I meeting, whom am I opening my sacred body to, like with whom am I sharing my energy. And let's face it, whenever we get intimate with another person, man or woman or whatever gender they call themselves, we merge energies, we merge genes, we merge karma, and we pick up the karma from that person and his own ancestor line or her own ancestor line, and with the people they have slept before. And you really don't want to do it. You really want to know, who is this? Whom is he attracting? Who did he or she attract before me? Right? So for this is really important. In regards to the bonding, I now have already some clients who tried it out, and the results are phenomenal. It's like all of them are in committed relationships through this. So they did the slow dating, and they said, like coming from now back to my example, I said, okay, I'm open, I want to get to know you. And my container is, we commit to 1 month exclusive dating, no penetration, and just see how we feel with each other, what unfolds. We meet for sunsets, for dinner, for walks, for touch, for lots of kissing and being sensual in all possible ways, but kept like the sexual part low. So I think at the end I allowed like a breast massage, but that was it. Like my yoni has not been touched at that point, so that was a boundary, and that bonded us in a way I never experienced before. So I could feel how much it did to the man, this kind of dating, this kind of slow dating, that he enjoyed it so much, and so much more than any kind of encounter he had ever known before. And as well, he could see all these male patterns of the need to have sex, the need to come, the need, like all this, right? And he started dropping it.
So his shadows came out, and he became aware of it, and through that he could heal it.
We could heal it together. I could be like mirror him, I could be with him, going through this stuff. And it was so beautifully to see, and so touching, like how much came up in him. I learned so much about men and their programs, how they function.
How they are conditioned as well, right?
And how painful it can be for them, you know? Many men are addicted to porn, to gaming, and to using coming in sexuality as a release of stress. But not knowing that every time they come, they really lose life force energy. They lose creation, they lose their semen. And when they start practicing Tantra, for example, my actual partner, he started a bit earlier, like 1.5 before he met me, with Tantra and some Tantric practices. But then through the relationship with me, he experienced what else is possible when you're not doing penetration,
Mm-hmm.
he had the most incredible full body energy orgasms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he could stay in orgasm for hours
Mm-hmm.
and not just having this little peak of coming.
Yeah, and then you turn around and bye bye, that's it. Yeah.
So he dropped that
Yeah.
need, and that's the most beautiful thing.
Yeah, beautiful. Like this is exactly the reason why I created the Sensual Lovers Guide as well, and I give this to women in my dating, because then when they meet a man, they can follow this whole guide. And the first guide is about creating a container with each other, speaking your desires, your boundaries, your fantasies. You really open the conversation for sexuality, and then it's like really taking it slow. And what I find the most interesting with this is that if you are looking for a relationship, or like the container that you had set yourself in for 1 month exclusive, no penetration, that you filter out the men immediately who are not willing to commit.
Exactly. And I was looking for a committed relationship.
Yeah.
And everyone else I didn't want to get intimate with or play with at all.
No, and that's so interesting to me, because I always say to the women then, but if they say like, yeah, but I'm afraid to lose him. But do you really want to be afraid
You are not
of
losing him.
No.
You are making space for a better man to come
That's
in.
it. Yeah.
And this is what I did.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the crap dating, I would call it, I had experienced before, I would never have made these kind of experiences when I would have had that knowledge and this experience which I have now, and would have been able to create such a container and to set these boundaries and to have had learned to say no, to have learned to voice my desires, to even feel my desires. And one part I would love to add, which is really important for me, is what both of us are doing in our work. We're guiding women back to the connections with themselves, their hearts, their bodies, their wombs. I do womb healing rituals, and then their yonis. And there's so much more possible when you're connected to your pussy and to your power in your pussy, when you feel the pleasure outside, inside. There are so many different orgasms possible. So when you educate yourself and heal this, right? And as well, you can get help from outside. There are therapists who do like healing work on yonis as well. It's a form of a massage. And I'm not talking about a tantric pleasure massage here.
No,
I'm talking about a therapeutic massage. And this really can be life-changing, because a woman who is deeply connected to her body and to her yoni, she will always be able to protect herself, to feel safe in her body. She knows what brings her pleasure and is able to voice that in her relationships, and even to initiate, to guide men to give what she really wants to her, right? And then they can apply it to their business as well, or to their leadership position in the world. When you lead from that pleasure and from that connection to yourself, you will always have a hell and full body yes or no to something, because you feel your body contracting, you feel your yoni getting excited, saying yes, becoming juicy or contracting. And you can use it for every situation in your life. You can start practicing it just with simple things like buying food in the supermarket. And then you start applying it on dating. Okay, how do you feel with the man? So when, for example, you meet the man for the first time, go super slow. Stand there. Feel how it feels to see him. How does it feel in your body? Where do you feel contraction in your body? Train this. How does your yoni feel? How does she respond? Is there a yes? Is there a no? How does it feel when he moves towards you, comes closer? When is the contraction starting in you? Can you tell him, oh, wait a second, I want to feel in. How does that feel? Then let him come closer, maybe hug you, maybe kiss you, whatever. But really to train to become more present in your body and what is going on in your body. That's the most important thing. And this is a big part of my work. As well, this is what we will be doing in the retreat I'm offering end of September, beginning October this year, 2024. At Six Senses Ibiza, in this beautiful luxurious environment.
Beautiful is an understatement.
And really to reconnect women to themselves, their self-worthiness, their love, and their bodies, their sexuality, their pleasure, and their yonis, so that they can show up in a different way in their relationships with themselves, with their bodies, with their partners, their dating partners, and their businesses, their leadership, the people they lead.
Yeah. Yeah, what this is, it's so interesting that everybody thinks of sex as the physical deed, you know? But then when you start exploring that sexuality is connected to yourself, to your body, to your pleasure, to whatever, like, there's so much more. And for me, what I found out, for instance, it was I also had this shadow, this pattern of because there were always men available in sex and in sexuality,
Yes.
that I didn't went deep in my own pleasure, in my self-pleasure practice, for instance, or touching my yoni from a loving way, like massaging her from the inside, from the outside. I mean, I had this whole skincare routine, but then I forgot about my yoni.
Yes.
You know, like, that was so interesting, and I broke through that pattern, and now I'm like, I don't need to date a man anymore to fulfill my pleasure,
Yes.
because I know the best how I can pleasure myself. And when I am open to share my pleasure with a man, it comes from sincerity, from integrity, because I feel that, oh, this is really what I would like to have right now, what I would like to share with him right now. And yeah, like last week for my birthday, I met a really nice guy in the club, and it's interesting what you said about my body, because I could feel my body contracting when I was dancing with him, and he turned me around and he pulled me close towards him. I was like, oh, this is a bit too strong, you know?
Yeah.
But I immediately felt that my body was like, okay, before I would freeze, what you mentioned
Yes.
before. But now I was like, no, I'm not comfortable with this, but I'm not pushing him away, just in a fun and playful way,
Voicing
it,
or even non-verbal, right? Dancing
Yeah,
away, doing it in a playful way.
yeah, because we were in a club, so it was difficult to voice it. But then we went outside and we kissed, and he went for grabbing my ass, and I immediately felt like I don't want him to just assume
Yes.
that he can do it.
Yeah.
If he asks, I'm fine with it, but I want him to
Ask for permission.
ask
to
for
touch you.
permission. Yeah.
Of course.
And I did that, and he was again very gentle with it, saying like, "Oh yes, of course, I'm sorry. Can I touch your ass?" And then every time that we kissed and he wanted to touch my ass,
Yeah.
he asked.
And I want to jump in here. So for me as well, this experience was penetration. So when you train your man to ask every time before he enters you, it will be life-changing for you and for your partner. This is so important. This is why I say it with such a strong voice. Please try it out. Train your man. Ask him to ask you before he enters your sacred body, your sacred yoni. And it can be like just voicing his desire, like, oh, I would love to enter you. Is that okay for you? Or may I enter you? Or like just this little question makes the whole difference.
Yeah.
So guys, if there's a man listening to this, try it out. See and feel how the woman you're dating or you're living with is reacting, how her body, her pussy is opening in a complete new way to you, to your penetration, and to pleasure in general.
Yeah.
And that's where the magic begins.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And how, like, speaking about the men, what is in it for them to slow down?
As I just said, so one thing when they ask for permission, like, you have to imagine, coming from the male perspective, so you have this beautiful woman in front of you, you're super aroused and you really want to be inside of her, you want to feel that, and you want your own pleasure and to penetrate her and to take her and to own her, whatever comes up, right? But imagine how different it feels when she is really ready for you.
Mm-hmm.
The whole her, the whole woman, the soul, the body, and her yoni. And this will lead her and you to complete different realms of pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the thing. This is why I say it. So you will have a very different sexual experience when you feel this kind of allowance and openness in a woman. And when she has more pleasure, automatically men have more pleasure too. I experience it over and over, like in my own life, in my couple sessions when I work with couples in tantric. And yeah, so this is very powerful. And coming back to the slow dating, so for men, they haven't learned as well to create safe containers, and they're so grateful when they have a woman, when they meet a woman who knows what she wants, who is able to say no, because this creates so much safety in relationships. Not only in your personal and private ones, as well in business relationships, when you can rely on the other part that they know their boundaries and they are able to voice them in the moment.
Yeah.
Because then you know, okay, you cannot overstep, because this person is mature enough to feel and to voice boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah, and all the masculine really wants is his woman, his feminine, to feel safe, seen,
And
happy,
to
relax
into his male leadership. And
Yeah.
we can only relax into male leadership when we as women feel safe, when our nervous systems feel safe. And let's be very honest, we have been living through thousands of years of patriarchy, of suppressing women, of raping women, of suppressing the feminine energy in the world.
Yeah.
So this trauma is in all of our bodies, male, female, whatever gender you call yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I can see also for the men that it's for them a new way of relating, and I can see also that when you are very clear, they know better what to do, so they become less insecure as well, because they don't have to guess what the woman likes, they don't have to guess what the woman does want or doesn't want, and that brings them so much clarity, which makes them feel more providing for as well, because they just want to see you happy and enjoying.
Yes, and when they feel that they're really able to provide for you, for us as a woman, then they feel more confident. And this gives them so much more power and self-confidence in their own bodies, in their own lives, and in their own leadership, in their jobs as well. So it benefits them a lot. I can just speak from my partner. Like in just the first 2 months, he changed so much. He stepped up so much through this. Like our whole environment here in Ibiza, like they were in a positive way shocked about what is possible. When a conscious and I don't want to say well trained, but an educated woman in this kind of stuff leads a man and educates him to step up into these tantric realms and in these different forms of relating and being intimate with each other. And I just can see how much this added to his whole life experience and his professional success.
Yeah, beautiful. So the final question I would like to wrap around is, women, men, everybody that's listening right now that feels like, oh, I want to start this journey. I mean, we are both in the tantric field, in the dating, relating, intimacy, and I can imagine that if you are very new to this and you hear this for the first time, that you're like, okay, but where do I start? How do I start? This feels like a very long process. How can we make it less of a big process for them? And okay, what would be the first step to go on this journey?
So first step, right now, joining my retreat, for example, just taking time for yourself, investing in yourself, and go to a retreat a few days and really dive deep in with a professional person who has lots of years of experience in trauma work, in coaching work, in tantra, in leadership, whatever you look for, intimacy, relationship work, and take a few days, 4 days, 1 week, and dive really in. So this will be really life-changing for you. Then you can start by joining one of our online programs, for example, and just commit for like a 3 months program, 1 year program, these kind of things, and have weekly calls, right? Group calls where you can ask all your questions. You can have then one-on-one sessions where you can work on your specific topics. Or I offer VIP coaching on Ibiza. You can fly in for a weekend, for a week, where you can really work one-to-one on your specific topics. And this is for singles as well as for couples.
Yeah, beautiful. So would you advise women that just been on dating to, if they are new to this and they don't have the knowledge, to come as a dating couple as well, or?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's the best way to start. Like most of my friends from Pangan, they did that. They already in the dating phase, worked with a mentor in that field.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing results.
Super profound.
For all. It's really, if you really really want this man or this woman, this person in your life, then I highly recommend from start, like very at the beginning, work with a mentor, because the main issues and triggers and pain points come out in the first meetings, like you know. So often the triggers are quite strong, even when you're in a like still in a how do you say
exploring phase,
pink lovemaking phase.
Yeah,
so that helps a lot to work through this and to bond even deeper.
Yeah.
And then I think it's good to start with what you shared, with a dating guide. Like you have created a product which people can buy online. I have created a sacred yoni massage guide, where it's a 2-pager where you can learn about how to create a sacred space with your man to meet you for the first time, how he can touch and massage your yoni in ways which gives you pleasure, which opens her without having the need to go into penetration, like going into this slow exploration.
Yeah, I always call this a more devotional way of pleasuring, because it's not per se about having an orgasm or very sexual, but it's so healing and connecting that it will create this huge ripple effect for the eventual pleasure. And it's such a big investment, and it's so bonding to do that together. And yeah, I mean, if you feel like wanting to learn more, feel free to reach out. I will post Anja's contacts in the show notes, and mine as well. I do one-on-one dating containers because for me, I can give a lot of information through the guide that I have created, and there's gonna come a mini course as well on how you can create more awareness of your dating patterns and like breaking the spell of the avoidant man, unavailable man,
not committing, polyamorous guys.
Yeah, and how you can stay into your body. But I can only do so much with that guide. It's so more profound when you go into one-on-one coaching, where I guide women really into the somatics to, okay, but what do you feel? Like fear of rejection, how does it feel in your body? What do you feel? How can you move through it so you can heal it?
As well, we give you tools how to express these emotions, because often as women we haven't learned to express them. And how to you will learn how to hold your own nervous system, because this is the first step, right? To feel safe in your own body.
And what I really like about retreats or one-on-one coaching is that I create this safe container for women to feel seen in their emotions, because I don't judge. There's no shame. There's like, I'm cheering you almost up for crying or releasing.
Exactly.
And that creates so much safety in the body, because the body can finally feel like, oh, it's safe to express myself. And then you can take it further into your dating and even your business as well. So
And one really first step you can do for yourself is just to be a bit more kind with yourself, with whatever you experience, whatever comes up, whatever emotion comes up, to slow a bit more down, breathe, go in nature, and be with yourself more. This is
I always say there's no right or wrong, and we can always go into this thinking patterns of, oh, I cannot do this because then I'm wrong, or I should do this because then I'm right. And be kind to yourself. I really like that. So thank you for adding this.
Thank you very much for this beautiful conversation.
Yeah.